So added to the equation by Louis van Gaal. No place for Steven Berghuis. Virgil van Dijk, a defensive anchor. Nathan Ake to his left. That's how the Christian name is said in the Netherlands. And Daley Blind, ever reliable. On that left-hand side, a real favourite going back many years of Louis van Gaal. Put it away by Piero Hincapié. Very talented young defender for Ecuador. Plays his football in the Bundesliga for Bayer 04 Leverkusen. They've gone through a bit of a tough time in this Bundesliga season, but finished with 3 straight wins before the break under Xabi Alonso. Pass by Virgil van Dijk. Not quite what he had in mind, looking for Jurriën Timber. What will be important from a Dutch point of view here, Alec?
Possession, security, in possession at that, and you're already seeing a glimpse of just how organized Ecuador is going to be and what Louis van Gaal and this group is going to have to navigate to find solutions, because we saw in the opening match they weren't clean in their connections. They admitted it, and they know they have to have better possession in order to break down this disciplined Ecuadorian side.
Hernan Galíndez is the goalkeeper for Ecuador, born in Rosario in Argentina, naturalized Ecuadorian citizen. And they do have a lot of talent. We spoke about Hincapié. We've got to mention Pervis Estupiñán as well, of Brighton and Hove Albion. It's very effective for Villarreal in Spain before making the move to England.
Yeah, both wings incredibly attack-minded. We saw in that opening match with Angelo Preciado getting the assist on Valencia's second goal. But already early on, he's pushing up and trying to pin back the wing-backs for Netherlands when they are in possession, that is.
And when they have the ball, this man, Frenkie de Jong, trying to work his magic. But we have a stoppage. Right back for Ecuador, the right wing-back in this case is Angelo Preciado.
Yeah, the man we were just speaking of, and he had made a bursting run early on just to try to pin back that Netherlands wing-back on that left-hand side of Daley Blind. They have to cover a ton of ground on that far side. And, of course, on this near side with Estupiñán. But they've got the engines to do it.
Gustavo Alvaro, the coach of Ecuador, had a disappointing spell at the helm of Boca Juniors in Argentina. He's very well known across South America for his work as a broadcaster, as a co-commentator on radio, predominantly in Colombia. Preciado being helped back up onto his feet. Started every game at the last Copa America. Louis van Gaal has been battling prostate cancer. It's a lovely moment at the press conference when he was celebrated by a young journalist from Senegal. Just wanted to tell him,
brother, what's up?
What he meant to him personally. Up following the game.
Oh, no way.
It's a beautiful, emotional moment. Gave him a hug.
And just looking early on, we'll see how this plays out, but it almost looks as though Ecuador is playing in a box mid in the central areas. With Valencia tucking in alongside Plata. Estrada is going to be the higher man.
This by Ake, looking for Steven Berghuis. Klaassen was in there. They might be able to get the shot in. And how about that for a start from the Netherlands? And it's Gakpo going to work again. Enjoying a fabulous tournament so far. Cody Gakpo gave it leather. And the Netherlands are 1 to the good with barely 5 minutes on the clock.
Now this is like I feel like I'm still in the Netherlands.
Davy Klaassen in, that means getting
like, do I need to go
moving
back
up to
out?
a more advanced position. You can see he's just sitting on it, waiting on that back line. Davy Klaassen surges. Now he just picks up that touch underneath. There's the little bit of space between the lines. That is tight in this area. But it's that touch from Klaassen, and then he protects the ball so Gakpo can pick it up, and he gets just enough of a window, and the clean strike. Just rifle that one past Galíndez, near post. What a moment. Opening goal in the first match and here tonight.
Well, the Netherlands on a pace to be the first team to guarantee their spot in the knockout stages because of the overall situation in the group. And I'll tell you what, Gakpo of PSV is stamping his authority on this section so far. Group A. Took the Netherlands a long time against Senegal. To wait until the 84th
absolutely. Because we
for
just
the
want the
opening
audio.
goal
So
from Gakpo.
And Van Gaal yesterday in his presser said he believed this Ecuador side was more organized and more difficult to break down because they did struggle with that.
this whole window.
Early inspiration finds that untrue.
Preciado getting high up the pitch. He was the player who was injured earlier. Made a fairly quick return to the action. It's not really what Ecuador had in mind. And we have to bring this up as well. If they're going to lose to the Dutch, then it really has to be a narrow defeat because of what Senegal did earlier. They meet Senegal in the last match in the section. And Frenkie de Jong going in there tigerishly. Here's Preciado. Seems to have recovered from that injury he sustained. Using Mendes in midfield. There's another key figure for this Ecuadorian side for Latri. Can they respond? Not going to get a free kick out of that. Here's Incapié. Across the penalty area. And away by Daley Blind for the Oranje.
Well, honestly,
in answer to your question, can they respond? I mean, this is a group that has proven they can in difficult situations. We saw in Copa America. We've seen it in World Cup qualifying. So they're going to have that internal belief. They've done it against top teams, and you can see they're not backing down. This is going to be an attack-minded Ecuador, at least for this opening 45.
Earliest goal of the tournament so far. In terms of the timing.
Would that be a source, or would that be
courtesy of Cody Gakpo? He's on the 2-goal mark for the tournament. Here's Incapié.
Gotcha. I have to get the SOP logo from somewhere.
Who's come into the team. And also with Troyes in France, Jackson Poroso, to make it a different defensive setup. See how far back Mendes has gone to collect it, to try to start something.
And that's frequent for him. He'll drop between the center backs. We even saw it in the opening match. It was almost as they were building with the back five. They kept their full backs lower.
We will go back to OBS.
Trying for it was Michael Estrada. Cruz Azul in Mexico. Most reckoned at the start the Dutch would be big favourites. They ought to be favourites in terms of coming out of the group. Matrimony is 7 successive victories in World Cup group stage matches going back all the way to 2006 when they were held by Argentina in Frankfurt. And interestingly, the winners of this group will face the runners-up in the England, USA, Iran, Wales group.
How many more times are we going to bring up that game tonight?
I suspect.
And then I got to go to YouTube and click live.
Coming up after this game is over.
Okay.
The goal by Gakpo, and it was a ferocious strike.
So we are all set for the USMNT game. I'll just have to come in and update Foot Mob and then start streaming in Turkey. Make sure
almost half of them have been penalties. Timber with the intervention.
And just like his opening match, half of them were penalties. Here's the swipe from behind. Timber's just overeager on that one because you have pressure doubling down. You don't need to go there and win that ball. You let that second defender clean it up for you. You just play hold up.
Taken by Mendes for Ecuador.
So can I?
Says Caicedo playing alongside him.
I'm not pushing anything out through yet. It's all coming from your end, right?
And nodded back.
All right,
I'm
just going to go ahead
by Valencia. There's Estupiñán who got his head to it just prior to that from Latri. The Dutch had it. And they go about the passing routine.
Oh, and they had Cody Gakpo. Excellent work from him just to win the ball back, and then he was in behind.
There.
The Koopminers had different ideas.
Because yeah, on my OBS screen now I got that
on the defensive side of things. Take some steam out of this.
Cool.
Interesting that they've given Miners the start. Okay, going down. I think he appreciated what he had to face on that occasion, but no transgression. Here's Miners towards Blief. There's a risk about that. He went Preciado. Nothing comes of it, and across the defence again here for the Oranje. The Dutch Elftal, as they're known. Virgil van Dijk. The very personification of what a top-level defender should be. Gakpo is the player who went sliding to the ground.
Yeah, and that's when I actually hit.
Valencia for Ecuador.
Yeah.
World Cup goals he scored now after his contribution against Qatar.
I don't want to hit
start
streaming right now.
Really. Probably deserved win for Ecuador, but I think it's a fair point to make. How do we really quantify it?
Yeah, it would just be on the network. Okay.
This different challenge against the Netherlands.
Okay, cool.
Very different teams, right? And different tactics, as you're
it's just it's just getting it all set up and kind of knowing what goes where, and then you just upgrade it as you go. Nice. Are you going to be around at like 12:59 just in case?
Pressure being applied by Denzel Dumfries. Felix Torres, strapping centre half for Ecuador.
Nice. All right, man.
And for Santos Laguna in Mexico.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a little nervous, but thank you. I don't want to be streaming anymore. Christmas pad.
Gakpo. He's playing slightly higher up the pitch with Klaassen in the lineup.
And it got like 20.
Steven Berghuis, as we said.
Yeah, and I'm sure he relishes that because it's more freedom. He can take more risk, less defensive responsibilities.
Let's get a bit more about Ecuador and their tactical thinking from our pitchside reporter, Rodolfo Landeros.
Gustavo Alfaro, Derek, has now asked his fullbacks, Pervis Estupiñán and Ángel Preciado, to play in a wider role. He extended his arms and told them, come on, guys, let's stretch the field.
Thank you, Rodolfo.
And it certainly seems to be the way that they want to go about it, with getting some width, and that creates some of the space inside as we look at the just incredible strike by Cody Gakpo. The release so quick. Goalkeeper not expecting it, doesn't have his near post covered. That is a slide, a step that he should have been on. Galindez, that is.
Looks like he might be on his way to Leeds United a few months ago. There's Miners, crowded penalty area. There's Gakpo trying to help the ball on its way towards Dumfries. And Gakpo this time giving it away straight to Ener Valencia. Such an experienced figure, so important for the younger players on board for Ecuador at this World Cup. Tidy job there by Jurrien Timber. Frustration for Valencia. Gustavo Alfaro. Relatively low-profile figure. I mentioned that spell at Boca, but not there for very long. And he is known for defence first. That's been his reputation throughout his career, Ali.
Yeah, but he's also recognized that he's had to layer in some of the attacking principles to this side. We saw it in Copa America, we saw it in World Cup qualifying, where you can't just soak up the pressure for 90 minutes and expect to get results against top teams. And I think that's why they're continuing to press and be on the front foot in this first half. Yes, they're down 1-0, but that's not changing how they're going about it.
He's Noppert again between the posts. Giant goalkeeper, only his second international appearance, and acquitted himself very well against Senegal. A reminder, right after our game, it will be England against the USA. Coverage from 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on Fox. And that's not the final reminder that you're going to get about it, I can promise you.
Is it a big game?
I would say so. Well, you tell me as an American.
No doubt. Just wondering if I can get there in time.
I'm sure you will. I'm strictly neutral in this one, of course, as a Scot.
I know, and I have some issues with that.
Well, I can tell you, So quite a few Scots aren't neutral, but that's another story. And they're not supporting England. If you get my drift.
Well, Derek, there's only one other option.
We don't call them the old enemy for nothing. But it should be a fascinating confrontation, and one you can enjoy with us here on Fox. There's Ake. Blind forward. Here's Frenkie de Jong. It's difficult to get right on top of de Jong. It's easier said than done. It's been a difficult season for him psychologically, you might say, at Barcelona, because for a long time it appeared that the club simply wanted him off the wage bill. Wanted to move him on. There's Incapié, and that was clever play, just going right into his opponent Gakpo.
But so well read in the counter press from de Jong, just to slide over and make that interception. And this is where Netherlands has to be careful, because Ecuador does want to close in on some of these central passes, and that's where they're going to look to launch their counter from.
Seen a lot of this from the Dutch so far. Building up from the back. Ake for Klaassen.
That's a ball.
Maybe Klaassen, who, as I mentioned earlier, scored as a substitute. His mother was due to watch him in action. Sadly, had an accident, fell at the stadium the other day and suffered a broken leg, had to be taken to hospital. Maybe Klaassen wasn't made aware of that, of course, until after the match.
I hope you gifted her the game ball, or at least the goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's Torres. Comes off Davis Estupiñán. Left home at 13 to pursue his footballing dream. Pelotero, they call him, baller. Was a ball boy at a tennis club. Esmeraldas, as a youngster. Helping him fund his football adventures. Esmeraldas, where so many of these Ecuadorian players come from. Quite the factory there. Incapié is another one from Esmeraldas. Denzel Dumfries to take this for the Netherlands. 1-0 they lead. Cody Gakpo with the second goal of the tournament. And the Oranje are on course to be the first country to stamp their ticket for the knockout stages. They certainly want to do it as group winners. And there's Senegal in this section, defeating Qatar by 3-1. And that's why it's important that Ecuador, if they aren't going to lose the game, keep the damage down. Try and give themselves the advantage going into their showdown, if it is a showdown with Senegal.
And that's the calculation, the risk-reward, because there's still plenty of game to be played, and I think this Ecuador team fancies their ability to find the back of the net. So it's how much do you risk? And I'm just watching as Netherlands was in that advanced area. Ecuador still leaving 3 above it. Of course, in closer proximity, so they could be those outlets once Ecuador won it, but certainly not going into a shell.
And again is Incapié. A very important spell in terms of his development at Talleres, Cordoba in Argentina. Away goes Dumfries. The pistons pumping there. Nothing doing. Still on the ground, Denzel Dumfries. Referee just having a look. Algerian referee for this game.
Well, Gakpo's got the step. He's stooping on a little tug from behind. It looks like Dumfries, was just driving towards goal. Collapsing midfielders, 3 players around him, goes to ground trying to draw the foul because he knows he's running out of options, doesn't get the call.
Memphis Depay waits in the wings. Louis van Gaal said maybe 45 minutes this time. That would be the next step for Memphis Depay. 28 minutes the other night against Senegal.
And what a difference he made when he came in. Just the tempo, the ideas looked very different for Van Gaal's group. Of course, he had a hand in both goals.
injury problems for a couple of months. He's not first choice at Barcelona anymore, but his dream move to Barca at the beginning of last season. Start of the post-Messi era there. And free kick decision this time goes the way of Michael Estrada. Busy player, Cop Miners. In the centre of midfield, good on the ball. Didn't get a single minute at the Euro, European Championship a year ago. Hello. 49% of the possession of the Netherlands. Stupinjan and Dumfries getting away with that. To plot a route back into this game, Ecuador. It's never going to be an easy assignment for them. The Netherlands, maybe not amongst the favourites to win the World Cup, but we were at the press conference the other day with Louis van Gaal, and he said, yeah, I accept that. I accept there are probably better teams here, but I believe we are in the conversation under certain circumstances to be world champions.
That's right, and he said it was similar to his 2014 group, except had more quality in the side. And it's similar in the regard that they buy into his principles and they're willing to execute them. And so many times at home, if you don't know what that means, it means players being unselfish and accepting a role or responsibility that they perhaps don't want to take.
There's Torres. Not very disappointing all the way through to Andries Noppert. Goalkeeper who not so long ago thought about giving up football. His wife was in favour of that. Before the game against Senegal, he'd only taken part in 51 professional football matches. Bergwijn hasn't properly got going for the Netherlands. Tried the exquisite little flick. Blind making that dash forward on the left. Blind, provider of one of the most memorable assists in Dutch World Cup history back in 2014. Now this could be more fruitful from an Ecuadorian point of view, with the Netherlands looking slightly unbalanced. Valencia was waiting in the centre. And the shot does come in from Caicedo for Ecuador. And away again here, Moises Caicedo trying to pull it back. Sufficient orange shirts in there. Plata was arriving on the scene. Just seemed to catch the Netherlands on the hop there, Ali.
Yeah, and just a quick little third-man combination. You get the run around the outside, and it's the right cutback, the right idea, but Van Dijk so wise to it. Knows what's around him, assesses out that ball might be played in that area, and just quick to it.
Moises Caicedo, Brighton and Hove Albion. The thumping heart of this Ecuadorian side. And it's Estupinian with the throw. Or Latri, as they're known. Plata. Ends up a cul-de-sac with that ball played in. It was dealt with by Timber. Touch was by Plata. Estupinian. Really important. Under away on that occasion by Virgil van Dijk. Well, they're getting warmer, Ecuador.
And falling into patterns of play that suits them. Little three-man combinations in these wide channels. We've seen glimpses already of what number 19 Plata can provide.
It's taken away that time by Timber, but too long, too strong for Gakpo. Stupinjan supplying the cross earlier. Bit of encouragement for the Ecuadorian fans who are here at the Khalifa International Stadium. Fans a bit further away from the action at this venue than they are at several others. Just to the southwest of the main Doha city centre. There's a bit of a lunge there by Timber.
But that's how Netherlands defends. They tend to get more man-centric as they tighten down the pressure. They were confronting with three players, and that meant there was a little bit of a void in midfield. And just the quick 1-2 again. Timber stepping up on Estrada, who's been really active early on, just to be some of the outlet play for this Ecuadorian side as we look at Plata laying in to Stupinan, and now it's just 1v1 with Ake. gets enough of a window, just glances that one by his right leg, and Virgil van Dijk, just so disciplined and organizing that 6-yard box, gets on the other end of it.
Productive little spell for Ecuador. Haven't had too much joy in this game so far, but that certainly was better. Not going to get in behind the Dutch defence here.
Joy and scoreline is spot on, but I also think that they're comfortable. They've been having more possession. Maybe Netherlands are fine with that, but the reality is they're not defending, and they'll take that all game long, and some of these glimpses that they're creating.
Klaassen is the player who lost out. Valencia. The belief is back for Ecuador, just sense that. Giving the Dutch something to think about. Miners to make the move with the ball at his feet. Here's Ener Valencia, and the touch by Estrada. Preciado. And off Ake last of all. It's a corner for Ecuador, who are certainly enjoying the finest spell of this half so far.
They certainly are. They're attacking with 6. They're pushing their wingbacks forward, leaving 4 behind it as their countermeasure. And here we go. Just a nice ball in that wide channel. There is space there, even though Netherlands are in a 5-back. They take advantage of it. And Estrada, just redirects that pass on Preciado in that far side. And then again, just trying to whip that one by Ake. This time he gets in the way of it.
Plata has gone over. So take the corner. Preciado. Players at the ready, but he's getting outside the area. See the crowded scene there with Incapié in the thick of things. Torres as well.
And Valencia, of course, the last man back there, number 13.
Plata, low delivery. He's trying to find Caicedo. Now, the throw here, Ecuador. Preciado. So then Plata and Blink put to work. And the Dutch elftal. Torres. Mendes. And Stupinian with a high header. Looked like a bit of foul play by Estrada.
Just a bit.
He's catching Virgil van Dijk. A reminder for a wrap-up of all the World Cup highlights, special guests and in-depth insight. It's World Cup tonight with Kate Abdo, Mo Edu, and of course America's World Cup fan Chad Ochocinco. It's tonight at midnight on Fox.
And good touch there by Torres. Because Frankie de Jong was working some magic just between the lines. And there he goes again.
Yeah, he's trying to be magical here, Frankie de Jong. Referee saw no wrongdoing. Bergwijn for the Dutch. Blind arriving. Back now with Klaassen. Hasn't been in great form at club level for Ajax. Hasn't always been playing. In there by Blind. No chances taken by Incapié. And behind this time for a Netherlands corner.
And a lot of conversations right now with de Jong and the referee because they're not happy. He's letting a lot of play go. And you've got to be wise to that. That perhaps suits this Ecuadorian side because they are physical, especially in midfield. With Caicedo, with Mendes, they're both sitting on yellows. Another yellow, and they have to sit out that third group game. They have to be aware of that and how they play.
Gakpo knows how to combine with Van Dijk when it comes to corner kick situations. Back to the recent game against Belgium. Gakpo with it. Trouble in the end for Ecuador. Here's Valencia. It's not going to be an examination for the Netherlands. Frankie de Jong backpedaling. Early goal by Gakpo, officially timed as going in the 6th minute. Thunderous drive. And they do know how to keep clean sheets, the Dutch. The strength of the side under Louis van Gaal. It's interesting, in the old days he was always a back 4 man, but of course a back 3 in 2014. And they made it all the way to the semi-finals. Bit of shoving there. Timber and Estrada. Cup Miners was the man who had gone down. Dutch haven't trailed, by the way, the last 427 minutes. De Jong to Cup Miners to play it towards Gakpo into what they want to with Davy Klaassen. Almost came off. Ecuador's turn, and space opening up here for Valencia. Trying to cut in, and Valencia, and he makes sure Noppert was concentrating to the maximum.
And that's how vertical, incisive Ecuador can be. Get that ball to Valencia, and he's always going to goal. Swivel of the hips, beats Dumfries, and just is looking for that near post. Trying to glide this one by Noppert, but wise to it.
Well, they held their breath and wondered. They had a chance, but Noppert was up to the task. Stupinian off the out-swinging corner. It comes to Mendes. And the header away by Dumfries. It had been stopped anyway. So nothing coming of it for Ecuador. And I think we're going to go down to the side of the pitch and join Rodolfo Landeros. Rodolfo, you have another point you'd like to make about Ecuador.
There was a big question mark coming up to the game with Valencia, who picked up a knock in the game against Qatar on his left knee. He was tested at yesterday's practice, and the coach, Gustavo Alfaro, was convinced that he was good to start. In his younger days, he helped his father milking cows and sold milk to buy his first football cleats, where he even slept at Georgia Catwell Stadium, which is the home of Emelec. There was no money to even buy food, and those were some of the big sacrifices the top goal scorer for Ecuador has made in his career.
That's the record goal scorer. And Ecuador trailing here at the Khalifa International Stadium on this big Friday here at the World Cup. England against the USA to come. How would you critique this Dutch performance so far, Ali, in comparison with what we saw the other day against Senegal?
Looks like they're getting bossed in midfield, and I think that was one of the questions coming in, was that could they handle the physicality? But they also have an ability like this. We've seen where Ecuador looks like they're knocking, but Netherlands can strike in a flash.
Dumfries, and he wasn't going to get there, was he? Gakpo. The last few minutes much more encouraging from an Ecuadorian point of view. Gakpo giving the Oranje the lead. Now let's officially remind you again about England against the USA. I said earlier on there would be quite a few reminders. And that is coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'll get Ali's thoughts on that match in just a second, but we'll just watch as the Dutch try to solve the problem here, and they do master it, but only to give it away again. This was by Plata for Ecuador. Back now with Caicedo in midfield.
And that's one of the challenges.
Stupinian, and Noppert says, that's mine.
When you look at this Ecuador team, when they do regain possession very quickly like that from De Jong, it's a transition to a transition. Now can you be incisive and not allow Dutch to recover? Because they're very disciplined in getting numbers behind it.
Just lost their way a bit, the Netherlands. Gakpo with the errant pass. Sense that Ecuador, to an extent, feel they have some sort of green light being flashed in their direction. Just to go back to Andries Noppert, as I mentioned earlier, a reserve for much of his career. Thought about quitting the game. Only got his chance at go-ahead Eagles in the Netherlands, team from Deventer, because of a blunder by the #1 keeper Van der Haan. And signed by Heerenveen. That's where he began his career. And he conceded 13 goals in the Eredivisie.
You spent all yesterday researching Noppert, didn't you?
Well, I've watched him a lot. I've watched him with real interest, Ali, in this Eredivisie season. Didn't for one moment, I have to admit, suspect he'd be the first choice for the Netherlands at this World Cup. Of course, they didn't pick Mark Vlekken of Freiburg, who I thought would be the #1. Van Gaal seemed to fancy him. Certainly a few months ago. Klaassen wants to get on with it. It was Caicedo who fell on the ball, arguing his case to the Algerian referee, Mustafa Barbal. Frankie de Jong getting involved in the conversation. It's relatively polite. Well, they stop yapping now, the pair of them. Okay, on the way back to the aforementioned Noppert. Got a spell in Italy with Foggia. Ended up at Dordrecht before go-ahead Eagles. That was an important piece of defending by Nkapie. Well aware of the danger around him. A tribute to the scouting network of Simon Rolfes at Leverkusen that they were able to sign him, able to persuade him that Bayer Leverkusen was the club for him. Did very well last season. This campaign, too many errors by the Leverkusen defence collectively. And away goes Caicedo for Ecuador. The Netherlands getting bodies back. Mendes Estupiñán. Timber forward to Bergwijn. Nkapie. Referee thought about it for a second or two before penalising Piero Nkapie.
You got to highlight again just the defensive work and understanding of Frankie de Jong in midfield. He's the one that steps in and wins it, and that's what sends Netherlands in the other direction. And then Bergwijn just draws that foul from Nkapie. He's got the pace advantage of him over him. Necessary foul from an Ecuadorian perspective.
Knew he couldn't be too fussy over on that left-hand side and decided to play it all the way back to Noppert. I almost just feel the Dutch are trying to manage the game here, manage the lead. And a credit to Ecuador for the way they've been able to bite back after an uncomfortable spell.
And it just looks like Ecuador is fine allowing de Jong to pull the strings. They're just going to close the next pass.
Klaassen, and it will be a Dutch ball. Dutch throw on that far side. Blint's pass. Wayward one. And then they're having to all cover up. It was Ake who put in the challenge. Now he scampers back to his defensive position. At times it's resembled a bit of a tactical game of chess.
And right in the middle of the field. You're looking at it right now. Mid-block setup from Netherlands, occasionally pressing with three, as you see the rotation of Gakpo coming high, Klaassen squeezing. And as they do that, they start to pick up man-to-man in midfield just to tighten that press down. But Ecuador, with some quick combination play, has been able to find their way through it.
Nkapie getting very well into this back three. He's not a stranger to that system in Leverkusen. Van Dijk missed the Euros last year because of that torn ACL. The Netherlands cruising into the knockout stages in that tournament, but then crashed out. The first time of asking.
Oh, geez. Valencia, and I believe it's Timbers just going at it. Full-on bear hug.
Yeah, Dumfries it was.
Dumfries.
On with the action, Ali. It is going to be Estupiñán. And here's Valencia, as Ecuador try to change the course of events. As things stand, they would hold the edge going into the meeting with Senegal. Win for the Dutch, and they would be through to the knockout stages. If you think of some of the Dutch greats, and you think of Wesley Sneijder.
And even Van Gaal was talking about the selfless role that he played.
Edgar Davids amongst the coaching staff.
Back in 2014, when Sneijder had to play in a deeper role, and then he was comfortable playing, but he had to do it for the team, and that's the kind of acceptance that Van Gaal feels like he's getting out of this squad as well.
Barroso, and Rupert is going to gather that with relative ease. Shades of Jan Youngblood, 1974. It's the first World Cup I can remember watching, and he was the surprise choice as Dutch goalkeeper ahead of Piet Schrijvers, who was the established keeper at the time. Just made the move from FC Twente to Ajax. But Youngblood was a real character. Interpreted the position in a very different way. Nobody really saw it coming before the tournament, so similarities with Noppert.
How so that he interpreted it differently?
He used to tear out of his area. He used to really be an extra footballer. It's part of the total football era.
He was ahead of his time.
He certainly was. But he'd come miles out of his area and start passing, start knocking it forward.
So goalkeeper, but a 9 at heart.
Yes. The great Jan Youngblood. And they do use Frenkie de Jong to good effect when they can, the Netherlands. That's going to go Ecuador's way in terms of the decision. Preciado. A little back flick by Caicedo. De Jong, back flick. So enjoyable to watch when he's on his game, and Hincapié just leaving it. Provided the shout for Galíndez. First half ebbing away. And England against the USA is on the air after our match. Crucial for the US. Remember, Iran have really changed the equation, you might say. Victory over Wales. Maybe not, you might say. Maybe it still comes down to the US having control of their own destiny, which they do, Ali.
Yeah, I think it actually suits them quite nicely. Because you can go into that Iran match knowing that if you pick up 3 points, you can progress. And you get something out of this match against England tonight, it's a bonus.
I'm just going to sit back and eat some hummus and enjoy.
By the way, that's assuming that Wales doesn't beat England and without their starting goalkeeper.
Yep. Rangers on here. Dumfries for Bergwijn. Again, also Dumfries. He stays with Inter, previously with PSV. In the Netherlands, Sparta Rotterdam, Heerenveen. Prior to that, used to represent Aruba at international level. Not for very long, though. Qualified through his dad, Boris. Featured in all 10 qualifying matches for the Netherlands ahead of this World Cup. And we're right on 45 minutes now. There will be a minimum of 3 additional minutes. Estupiñán. Dumfries just trying to cover up. Came off Denzel Dumfries. Here's Virgil van Dijk. Hincapié right on top of his direct opponent, Bergwijn. So they have that hard-to-beat quality about them, Ecuador, Ali.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you said it, they're built on defense first, but now they've been layering in some of the attacking principles and just a different look for Netherlands in this 5-back setup. I don't think they were quite expecting them to try to overrun them in the central areas with numbers, that is, as Plata's more inverted. He's typically a winger that does like to come inside, but has a capability on the outside, and his activity and inside the park has been really beneficial. He's popping up in all sorts of areas.
Missed it there by Timber.
Again.
Estrada was going after it for Ecuador, and the outcome here is a free kick to the Ecuadorians. They have worked their way back into this contest.
I mean, despite that early goal, I think they've had the balance of play, and they're comfortable with how this is playing out.
Estupinian to play it in. Delightful left foot of his. Once again, Torres Hincapié up from the back for Ecuador. And not going to trouble Noppert. It was Valencia. Well, he'll view that as a chance. A corner it's going to be in added time at the end of this first half.
We said Estupiñán can deliver a ball. This is exquisite service straight to the back post. The man you're trying to find in Valencia. It looks like Ake maybe gets the deflection first. This will be a better look at it. Good trajectory on that just to get it up and over the first few players. And then the deflection comes off the back of Ake as Valencia did get the first contact.
Plata has gone over there again. This is going to be a test of Dutch metal on the cusp of the half-time interval. Van Dijk together with Hincapié. With it, similar approach to the previous one, and let's take it a deflection. That has gone in. It's a goal for Ecuador. Estupinian wheels away in celebration. And how very timely on the stroke of half-time. It's the leveller for Ecuador.
Well, coming into the match, Alfaro was clear that they don't have the height advantage, so they're going to mix things up on set pieces. They opt to go for the near post flick.
Hang on, Ali, hang on.
And it pops out. Angel Preciado makes the connection, but they're going to call offside on this, it looks like. Because Jackson Perozo is coming off that back line, off the goal line, and does provide a bit of a distraction in an offside position for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Perozo was interfering in the line of sight. So no goal. So aggravating, isn't it, for Gustavo Alfaro and especially for Pervis Estupinian. And that is going to be it for the first half. So a bit of a let-off for the Netherlands. They dropped their guard somewhat towards the end of that first half. No goal for Estupinian because of offside. Gakpo with the one goal of record. The Dutch lead 1-0.
On us. That's a value of up to $1,900. Verizon.
And one efficient stroke. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris that gets in the way.
No.
Face the fact. Mbappe will destroy Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho will beat him for sure.
Okay, you know
one going into the interval.
No, certainly not. I think Ecuador will feel like they left something out there. And we've seen over the course of this tournament already that it's been a tale of two halves. Now, does Depay come in and really shift the momentum despite being up 1-0? Do they start to take control of this match in possession so they're not having to really weather the storm of the pressure that Ecuador's been putting them under? Or does Ecuador risk more, gamble more, try to get that equalizing goal in the first 15? Or do they keep things tight and go into that third match with their fate in their own hands?
Steven Bergwijn, now a spectator. Memphis Depay is on the pitch, and it will be the Netherlands to start the second half, attacking the goal to our left. Away they go, and immediately a touch for Frenkie de Jong. And he was really the player in midfield, attempting to hold things together. At times they lost that midfield battle against Ecuador.
Yeah, but his positional awareness, the timing of his challenges, really key in that first half.
Let's just get some clarification, shall we, on that goal that was disallowed for Ecuador. Mark Clattenburg is standing by. Mark, what are officials looking for when it comes to line of sight and interference and things like that?
Yeah, it's an absolute impossible decision for the assistant referee to see, so that's why the VAR would have looked at it. And what he did is he used the stills. As the first shot came in, there isn't a player in an offside position and originally blocking the goalkeeper's vision. When it gets touched by an Ecuadorian player, again, he's still in front of the goalkeeper. Even though there is an argument that the goalkeeper's already committed to the dive, the laws of the game states that he's interfered with, he's blocking his view, and therefore, under the laws of the game, it has to be given as offside.
Thank you, Mark, as always, but also the player in question as it bounces off the referee here, and that's why it has been stopped.
I will tell you, my Santa Clara University team won their national championship on that exact call. North Carolina had scored, player was in an offside position, blocking the goalkeeper view, so I know that rule incredibly well.
Memories, eh, Ali?
Yeah, only a few.
As Torres for Ecuador. There was a lot to like about that first half performance from the Ecuadorians after the initial spell, and they were discomfited. Gakpo with the goal on 6 minutes. Cracking strike it was from Cody Gakpo. His second goal of the tournament, and 2 goals in this World Cup already for Valencia of Ecuador. Estupiñán, we've seen already in this game. He knows how to flight a ball in. He's trying to find Estrada. Played in once more for Ecuador, this time by Plata, but safe pair of hands from Andries Noppert. Before the first game here at the World Cup, only twice before had he played in front of a crowd of 30,000 or more. Tells you a lot about his career, his trajectory. A late bloomer, Memphis Depay, not so much a late developer. Of course, really burst onto the scene to a wider public at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil for the Netherlands under Louis van Gaal. Not too many people have them getting all the way to the semi-finals. A much younger defence. It was a back three at that tournament, but considerably more youthful. Very Blint, part of that squad. And here's Preciado for Ecuador. As things stand, the Netherlands poised to be the first team to go officially through to the knockout stages. Ecuador with a 1-0 defeat would hold the edge going into their showdown with Senegal in terms of who might finish second, but of course they could yet turn this around. Frenkie de Jong. That was excellent play by the Ecuadorians, and who knows, they might have an equalizer in their future, and they do this time. Enner Valencia, his third goal at this World Cup. Noppert couldn't hang on, and Valencia highly opportunistic. Look at what it means to them.
you a signature later, says Valencia, and for good reason. We came into this match knowing that Ecuador wants to turn you over in central areas. Well, they do just that. It's a little bit careless from Frankie de Jong. It's a simple pass here, but into pressure. And that player on it, trying to turn out of pressure, has 3 players around him, gets turned over, and now here they come. First, the shot, Valencia remains onside and just gambles. Noppert puts his back into a really dangerous area, and it's a gift to a man that is not going to miss from there.
Stupinyan with the initial shot. Valencia snapping onto it after Noppert had tried to make the save.
And it's that risk reward of playing out of pressure and being calm, being brave, but being smart. And Netherlands paid a price there.
It's an autograph that certainly would be much sought after at this World Cup. Out of Ener Valencia. Leave it to Ecuador's record scorer. He's top of the charts at the moment. And it's back to the drawing board here for the Netherlands.
Yeah, and here's a good look at that midfield setup of Ecuador. Just overloading centrally and taking away that advantage from the Dutch.
I have to say, Ecuador deserve it.
Absolutely. We went after that into halftime after that first half thinking that perhaps they got robbed. They were on the front foot. They were creating more despite that opening goal from Cody Gakpo.
That had the effect of stinging the Oranje into action. Klaassen's pass for Memphis Depay. Trying to go on a mazy run. It's away by Torres. Ecuador emboldened by that equalizer from Ener Valencia. And it was quite the celebration. Tells you a lot about the unity within this team, within La Tri. Valencia, talisman. Just what Gustavo Alfaro wanted at the beginning of the second half after the disappointment of seeing the goal just before half-time chalked off. And the choruses of joy that you hear coming from the Ecuadorian fans. Sliding after it there was Poroso. And they're in great form. And the corner here for the Netherlands, which Gakpo is contemplating. Van Dijk is the obvious aerial target. There are others. And there by Gakpo. It's Ake who made the jump. He's not the tallest, but his timing is usually impeccable. And away they go again. It was Mendes with the flick. Estupinyan who got into that advanced position just a couple of minutes ago. Missing the save from Noppert, but Valencia was there. Quick throw, but Timber had the reading of the situation for the Netherlands. 1-1 here. Excitement in the air ahead of England against the USA, which is coming up later. A marquee match for most of you watching back in the United States as Blint tries to unhinge the defence, but again it's Jackson Poroso confirmation. Group B, England, USA next on Fox. You won't miss any of the build-up, any of the action. John Strong and Stu Holden will be your match commentators. Well, the Dutch certainly had visions of clinching their place in the knockout stages today. The draw. They wouldn't be home and dry. They play Qatar in the last group match. Ecuador up against Senegal. Nkapié doing the defending here. And that is going to be a goal kick. And the Dutch aren't especially happy about it. Gakpo in particular.
No, but Ecuador's been doing a nice job of just reading that ball in behind. Here's the turnover that led to the goal. Estupiñán just released into this wide channel. Van Dijk doesn't close him down quickly enough. He's just going to try to shepherd him to the outside and give his goalkeeper an angle, but the deflection goes right to Valencia.
Caicedo with a quick ball win there. That set the table first of all for Estupiñán, ultimately for Valencia. Not not the ideal moment for the Netherlands. And we've watched them in both games, Ali. They were underwhelming against Senegal. They got the victory. They had to wait till the 84th minute for the opening goal. They got off to a roaring beginning tonight, Van Dijk and company, but just lost their way a bit.
But it was never going to be straightforward against Ecuador. This team, we've seen them develop over the past 2 years through Copa America, through qualifying. They've got young, explosive talent, 2 incredible center midfielders. One you just named, Caicedo, with ball-winning capabilities and excellent range. They make it hard on anyone.
Caicedo's pass, Preciado. Didn't look as though he had succeeded in keeping that in play.
And almost the biggest difference from those matches that we've seen over the spell of the last 2 years is Valencia's form.
Van Gaal might be a little bit concerned about this statistic. Just 1 attempt by the Netherlands as opposed to 8 from Ecuador, Ali, 3 of which have been on the target.
And sometimes you look at the way a match plays out because of the scoreline. Were Netherlands a bit more conservative, allowing Ecuador to have the ball, but certainly don't think that is the case because they were under a lot of pressure in that first half, and this is a team that wants to have possession and impose themselves positionally.
Is it going to be another of those second half stories, second half comebacks to win a game? The Dutch will have their own views on that subject, particularly Gakpo, given the mood he's been in on the goal-scoring front, but seeing plenty of Nkapie.
Certainly feels like some heavy challenges have been let go by this referee. Mendes just had one in midfield. I believe it was Nkapie in this last one.
Yep, it was. And out comes the card here from the Algerian referee. Looks as though it's gone to Jackson Mendes. Preciado as the player on the ground. It was Nkapie who had put in the illegal challenge just prior to that. This was Mendes. It was that one on Memphis Depay.
Yeah. But again, I mean, those central passes.
Let's see what they can conjure. Mendes, his second yellow card of this World Cup so far, so suspension for him. One goal apiece. It's often said one goal could change everything in a World Cup. Big momentum shift here, even though, as we've been saying time and again, Ecuador have contributed mightily, and well, it certainly doesn't flatter them, the fact that they're on level terms. You might feel that they can forge ahead, and you think about what Saudi Arabia did a few days ago, and you think about what Japan did a few days ago. I think you and I were there against Germany.
What a game that was, or what a half that was.
Netherlands have won 7 group stage matches in a row, going back to 2006 in Germany. Here's Preciado, a couple of feints there, and oh, it was certainly hit ferociously, and it's off the frame of the goal from Plata. Estupinian prior to that. And the Dutch are rattled, make no mistake about it. Ecuador have the momentum here.
Oh, and so is the crossbar. Clear rattle of that. Here's the cutback ball. You get Tanner Valencia. He just gets a step on his man. The deflection then comes off of his own teammate. It looks like Estrada, and lands at the feet of Plata, and he just lines this one up. That one is heading top corner, top bins.
A real let-off for the Netherlands. And the traffic flow is most definitely towards Andries Noppert. There's Ake, and now Blind. The Dutch being outplayed, outthought. Frenkie de Jong keeping it on the ground. Koopmeiners. Dumfries, who we've seen little of in an attacking sense in this half so far. To Cup Miners.
And if you want to know what the difference is in this match, besides small things, little decisions, look at that effort. 3v2 of Ecuadorians just recovering, doing the defensive work against two Netherlands players that look out of sorts. There's the energy, there's the pressing energy and effort.
Edge of the seat stuff, this. It's unpleasant viewing if you're of a Dutch persuasion. Certainly in the second half, but even before that, they know they've got to try to get a grip, if you like. As Ecuador, you can see the body language and the belief just coursing through the veins of these Ecuadorian players, Ali.
And there's that belief, there's that energy, but then there also has to be that calmness. We saw in the U.S. game in that opening match against Wales where they were living on that edge. Now you've also got to have that discipline to continue to make the right decisions and not just gift a goal back to the Netherlands or draw a red, or earn a red, I should say.
And they won a lot of friends, didn't they, with a victory over Qatar. There's so many watching around the world. A lot of popular support for Ecuador. And the Dutch have got to pay attention, they know that. As Blint came off him, and then the run by Preciado after Estupinian had got forward again, and he's running riot on that left-hand side.
Both wing-backs. That's wing-back to wing-back.
This is what Frenkie de Jong does. Happy to take it out from that deep position. Noppert for Ake. It's been a struggle for the Dutch to get out and to be fluent and constructive.
And now you can see Plata's just sitting on de Jong. And now they're going to squeeze him, make this next pass predictable. And there you go.
Look at that, 10 attempts, 3 on target, just 1 for the Dutch. Gakpo with that 6th minute goal, but not an awful lot from the Oranje since then. Valencia almost trying to manage their way through it. Just around midway through the first half, I think Ecuador sensed, hang on, if we change the thinking in midfield, we might be onto something here. And it's with Cup Miners. Blint. And Memphis Depay. Taking on Mendes initially. Gakpo was there, and Memphis Depay going to play his way through a thicket of Ecuadorian legs. To no avail. And that flick forward by Plata. It's Estrada, but away by Virgil van Dijk.
But so calmly done by Van Dijk. Just a little, little stutter step by Van Dijk just to throw off Estrada. Make him play that ball early.
Hincapié. Taking it forward, and there's Plata up against Timber. Gonzalo Plata feeding it back. Estrada was there, but no purchase, no punch behind the shot.
Well, it looks like Valencia on that far side. He goes 1v1 against Timbers. Plata goes down with a little collision, and it's the cutback ball that is on against Netherlands. That or back post. This time he plays the right pass. And Estrada gets there first, but just not enough pace on that redeflection of his shot.
And here is Ake for the Dutch. Memphis Depay, play broken up very nicely by Poroso. Giving the Dutch an awful lot to contemplate, throwing plenty at them. Again, shades of what Japan did in the second half against Germany.
And you can see that back line. When there's no pressure, they're dropping, they're trying to squeeze it. If there is, that's taking away a lot of the space the Dutch like to live in, and that's between the lines.
Frenkie de Jong. The draw wouldn't be the end of the world for the Netherlands. Still be able to top the group. Last match against Qatar. Probably fancy their chances of scoring a goal or two, but well, it would be so much simpler if they could win this game and then have the luxury of making wholesale changes, resting a few players against Qatar. Coming the first team to make it through, officially make it through to the knockout stages of this World Cup. The equation for them has been complicated a bit by that equalizer from Valencia on 49 minutes, cancelling out the Gakpo goal in the 6th minute for the Oranje. Here's Klaassen. Gakpo laying it back, and it was Miners. His left foot, but couldn't direct it on the target.
And it's better work, though, from the Dutch. Just a little reverse down this near side for Daley Blind. He cuts inside. Now it's back to Klaassen. And then it's just 2 touch in there. 1-2, 1-2, and the layoff. Play the way you're facing. Cody Gakpo just absorbs that nicely, lays it off for Miners, but he gets it all wrong.
A bit of concern amongst the Dutch fans, and with good reason. Torres trying to play his way out. Came off Memphis Depay. Just a reminder for a wrap-up of all the World Cup highlights, special guests, and deep insight. It's World Cup tonight with Kate Apto and the team, Mo Edu, and the omnipresent Chad Ochocinco. That's tonight at midnight on Fox. He does seem to be in more than one place at any given time.
Pretty sure he doesn't have a doppelganger, though.
Van Dijk was involved in the clash there. Estrada is trying to pick himself up. From the vicinity as well, Ali.
Just a heavy challenge from Estrada. Van Dijk always had positioning.
Timber. Miners back the way to William Timber. His twin brother Quinten plays for Feyenoord. Used to both be part of the Feyenoord youth setup as opposed to Ajax. That was because Feyenoord had a van that would pick them up. Into training. This hasn't really fired for Louis van Gaal and company in the second half. As we said earlier, chunks of the first half as well. 1 goal apiece. Running onto it was Preciado, full of vigour. A little miss kick. And Daley Blind to throw it back in play for the Oranje. Not so much fizzy orange, rather flat orange in this game. He's made the connection there. Estrada is looking for Plata. A lot of pacing around, isn't he, Gustavo Alfaro? In the technical area, these very large technical areas here at the Khalifa International Stadium.
He should be pleased.
I know you fancied them, Ali. Before a ball was kicked, you had a feeling for Ecuador tonight. They certainly haven't let the fans, the country down. It made the Dutch look rather ordinary, must be said.
Yeah, and look, I think you've got to point to Caicedo and Mendes in midfield. They are the stabilizing forces with this group. That back five has worked quite brilliantly, in fact, with the 3 center backs when they are in attack, 5 when they're trying to defend. The width of Netherlands that usually they like to exploit those wide channels. They're just defending it well because those 2 center mids can get out and shift across the field and help defend those areas. That is part of what is working, and of course overloading the central areas with bringing in Plata, bringing in Valencia.
Here's the change for the Dutch. On has come Steven Berghuis. He's taken the place of Davy Klaassen. Down by Torres for Ecuador. They've kept things really tight. 3-man defence favoured by Gustavo Alfaro. Switch away from the 4 that we saw against Qatar in the official opening game. Who went down was Estupiñán. And here is Ake for the Dutch. Originally came through the Chelsea ranks. Relegated with Bournemouth in 2020. An opportunity for him at Manchester City. Took that opportunity. Berghuis going to make an impact having come on. Humphries was in the advanced position. And with Berghuis, it was careless. Clear foul by Gakpo.
And it could be a yellow just because it's a tactical foul. Estupiñán has a step on Gakpo, shove right in the back. Just puts out any counterattack possibility.
Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1. Earlier, Senegal defeating Qatar 3-1. At the moment, the Netherlands and Ecuador in control going into the final match day. This is match day 2, if you like. Match day 3, it'll be the Netherlands against Qatar and Ecuador against Senegal. Berghuis to Blind. Just haven't really been at it, have they, the Netherlands?
No, and now they're trying to push up a bit more in the midfield, drop De Jong and push on Ake so he can get in a higher spot in that build-up phase, but that's still not even coming off. They're just trying to find space to get into this next phase of their attack, and Ecuador all over it, closing in on that next pass.
Sarmiento is the player to come on of Brighton, born in Madrid in Spain, but represented England at youth level. Originally came through the youth ranks at Charlton. Valencia, the equalizer in this game.
Oh, here's a beautiful look at it. Just the win in the midfield, then the release to the wing. Yes, the player's onside. That's Valencia. Times it right and just gambles on it. Those are strikers' instincts. You want to find yourself as close to net as possible, pick up any deflection.
Another misstep from the Netherlands. We've seen plenty. And bodies inside the box again. Plata was one of them, so to Estrada. Now maybe the Dutch counter-attack. Dumfries. Ungainly, really. Hincapié was doing the defending. Going to be the shield there for Ecuador. But now it's opened up and there's not much defending going on. And it's a delicate little chip with Gakpo in the clear. And for once they had stepped up. The Ecuadorian defenders.
I mean, at first glance, he looked like he was a mile offside. Here's the play. We'll see if the timing is spot on now. He's way ahead of this. Hincapié knows it. Puts his arm up, but he still has to continue to do that work just to make sure.
Flag finally going up against Gakpo. Now for the change. And it's Estrada who is departing. Now that Sarmiento can come on. Well, he's got through a power of work in attack as the partner of Ener Valencia, and thanked for his efforts, quite rightly, by Gustavo Alfaro. Sarmiento, the 20-year-old, is on. And full of life, full of the joys, the Ecuadorian fans.
Oh.
Referee just saw that from a few meters away. Van Dijk and Valencia together.
And it looks like with Sarmiento on, that'll shift Valencia into the more central position that Estrada was taking up.
But also covering up for the Ecuadorians. His direct opponent was Berghuis. Well, the talking is over. Louis van Gaal, Edgar Davids and Danny Blind. tend to be brutally honest when it comes to assessments of matches. I don't think if it continues in this fashion, Louis van Gaal is going to hold back. As we said, we were a little bit disappointed by the Senegal performance. I mean, it was fine on one level. It was solid enough.
Right.
But, well, they have taken a step in the wrong direction in this game.
But I think that's more of a statement about this Ecuador side and what a challenge they do pose to break down defensively. They're resolute. They do get tight man-to-man when they need to. You can see Plata's just doing the work to just stand on De Jong and take out his influence of the half. But they do have weapons going forward. I think the tempo's been slow for the Netherlands. When they've gone up tempo, that's when they found some breakthrough moments. But they've really taken away any central penetration for the most part that the Netherlands would find.
And at the moment, in terms of the group, both have 4 points on the live table, Ecuador and the Netherlands. Identical goal difference. 1 for, 1 against. Mendes. They pass that time for the Ecuadorians. On Latri, Estupinian, who's always willing to go forward when the opportunity presents itself. And back the way this time by Caicedo.
But again, winning those duels in midfield, right? Defender steps up, wins the ball, then Mendes wins the next one.
It's all been rather chastening for the Dutch.
And De Jong knows he's not going to get touch tight to Plata because he can get rolled.
Sarmiento, and it's poked away by Timber. It is given. Inside the final quarter of an hour. What's the closing phase going to bring us? Felix Torres. Launching one. Valencia made his way into the box, but a piece of anticipation by Ake for the Dutch Elftal. Stupinian. On the scene was Berghuis. He's playing with so much confidence. The Ecuadorian players. Van Weghorst is amongst the substitutes for the Netherlands. Big old-fashioned striker. Didn't work out at all for him, that move to Burnley in England from Wolfsburg of the Bundesliga in Germany. He's currently on loan to Beşiktaş in Turkey. Preciado just trying to steer it forward as they play more keep ball, Ecuador. Caruso, back to Galíndez. Apparently a big social media expert. Goes on to social media a lot. I'm sure if you go into social media yourselves now, you'll see a lot of praise for Ecuador. And the precise nature of this performance. And another free kick. And Timber, once again, with the look of dejection etched on his face.
And once again, Mendes is in the mix. Just holds off positioning, knows the challenge is going to come. Draws the foul. Just keep yourself between the player and the ball. Really well done.
And here are the switches. Martin de Roon to come on. Van Weghorst as well for the Dutch. Koopmeiners has departed. De Roon is on, holding midfield player. Gakpo is going off as well. The Dutch goal scorer. Seems like an eternity ago now, doesn't it? So on comes Van Weghorst. Hasn't always been a good fit for this Dutch national team. Certainly wasn't a good fit at the Euro. His family in the Netherlands owns a cluster of petrol stations. And the Dutch certainly need filling up here urgently. The tank has been empty. Estupinian not doing his level best. It's been the pattern throughout the game, and a big cheer from the Ecuadorian fans just a few metres away. And that corner flag. And where this is going, the Dutch will be happy to get out of it at 1-1. Plenty could happen in the final 10 minutes for either side. Estupinian to take it. Torres Hincapié in the centre of the penalty area as ever. Pervis Estupinian. Valencia was competing for it. Hooked towards goal by Preciado. Not to be. And we should remind you that it's England against the USA right after our match. Rob Stone and the team bringing you comprehensive coverage. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Black Friday treat for you. England and the United States. Who's going to prevail? Who's going to prevail in this match? Is it going to be a story of parity? Barroso. Controlled initially by Plata. Concedo getting himself involved. Torres for Ecuador. Hincapié. And then Mendes, as is his wont, dropping back. Not an enjoyable experience for those wearing orange for the most part. I suppose if it does finish 1-1, 4 points from 2 games, it's not terrible. Hincapié. No style points on scoreboards or when you look at tables. Ali?
No, but I think that building confidence matters in a tournament. And you talk about the slow burn that potentially we thought would be the Netherlands. Well, perhaps it's Ecuador that is going to gain the most confidence out of this match because they're going toe-to-toe with one of the world's best.
Memphis Depay and Torres. He's been, I say, rock solid back there. And Timber preferred to Matthijs de Ligt in the starting 11 by Louis van Gaal tonight here at the Khalifa International Stadium.
I think what's surprising, Derek, about this is Ecuador is winning those individual duels, and why Netherlands now isn't making it about the collective. They need the quick tempo. They need an extra player, a +1 being added to the space. It seems to break down.
That's very much Wout Weghorst's game. He's trying to turn around initially with his back to goal. Grinds to a halt for the Oranje as Dumfries had to make that run forward on the right-hand side. Just to repeat, 4 points for the Dutch on the hypothetical live table. 4 points for Ecuador. Same goal difference. Who's going to come out on top when all is said and done in this section? One of the winners of this group are the runners-up in the England, USA, Iran, Wales group. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves because it's difficult to say at the moment who's going to come out on top in this section and what's going to happen in the England, USA, Wales, Iran section. And it's worth bearing in mind. Spin around there by Valencia. His goal levelling matters on 49 minutes. And 3 goals in 2014 at the World Cup. 3 already here in 2022. They missed out in 2018, Ecuador. They tend to rely on home advantage so much in South American qualifying. We've seen this evening just how capable they are. And Van Dijk back to Noppert. There's a left-footed goalkeeper. Trying to hang in the air, Wout Weghorst.
That's better.
A little bit neater and tidier. Frenkie de Jong, Daley Blind. And Memphis Depay, but misplaced pass, Mendes. There's the marauding Estupinian. Dumfries. Free kick it'll be to the Netherlands as we approach the final 5 minutes. They've been having a sizable amount of stoppage time in most matches. The days of 3-4 minutes added time at the end of a game are gone. Certainly at the World Cup. Okay, on the receiving end there from Caicedo.
And he's lucky not to get a yellow here. Caicedo just trying to surge and break the lines by carrying the ball, and really heavy challenge from Caicedo, who, remind you, Mendes picked up a second yellow tonight, which means he's out for that third game. And if they lose Caicedo as well, that's a big mark.
That's a good point, Ali.
Ecuador heading in.
That's a very good point.
And I'm surprised he doesn't get a yellow on that challenge.
Might have been a booking. We'll be looking at a suspension for Moises Caicedo. No Mendes for the Senegal game. Already suspended. And it comes from Berghuis. Insufficient guile there. And Mark Clattenburg, our expert when it comes to refereeing matters, concurs with you, Ali, on the last challenge.
That rarely happens.
Great minds think alike. Ake. Certainly very slow and sluggish from the Netherlands. There's a player down just as they passed it around, an Ecuadorian player down.
That was Valencia.
Yeah. Play continuing. Berghuis. Dumfries. To grab hold of it is Galíndez. We look at Valencia, came into this match carrying an injury, so he was prepared to play through the pain barrier. He's collapsed in a heap for Ecuador. Gustavo Alfaro inclined to talk about it with the fourth official.
But I talked about it earlier, Derek, in terms of just managing the rest of this game for Ecuador. And I think they've been brilliant in that regard. Having the intensity, having the urgency when it's necessary, but also slowing down the tempo when the ball is out of play. Valencia going down. Anything they can do just to take up some of these minutes. But also bursting into life and having that intensity when it calls for it.
Ecuador a bit irked by the fact that play continued with Valencia on the ground. Looks as though there's going to be a change with Mario Ibarra coming on. Winner who started the opening match. Victory over Qatar. That's not going to be the only change either. Kevin Rodriguez likewise making his way on.
And just a third cap if he does make his way on. For Kevin Rodriguez.
Another player who we saw as a substitute in the initial game. They need Valencia to be on the pitch. He's done his job again. They certainly need him for the Senegal game.
Well, here's a look at the opening goal. Just a wondrous strike from Cody Gakpo. And Netherlands thought they were flying. They didn't get that start in the opening match. It took them a while to break down Senegal. 80th minute for Cody Gakpo to get them on the score sheet there. But then it was mostly Ecuador from then on out. Second half, they win the ball in midfield. Estupin on surges, and Valencia gambles.
Plata is going to depart, and Valencia is on the stretcher now. So the two substitutes at the ready. Rodriguez and Ibarra. Warm applause for Ener Valencia. One of the stars at this World Cup so far. At the age of 33, Ecuador's inspiration. For a quick story on Valencia, let's join our pitchside reporter Rodolfo Landeros.
Just what this, what Valencia means for the team. As he was down in the considerable amount of pain, his leadership brought him to address his teammates. He was suffering and he shook his hands, just trying to calm down. This is the end of the match. So you can gather a lot from what his body language speaks, even though he's in that amount of pain in this precise moment of the game.
Thank you, Rodolfo. We've gone past the 90-minute mark. And a minimum of 6 added minutes. The board being held aloft just in front of us here at the Khalifa International Stadium. And that is the south side, Valencia. Wobbling a bit. 1 goal apiece. That would mean the Netherlands and Ecuador at the top of the table. Same points, same goal difference, same goals scored. Let's say the Netherlands have the edge because they've got Qatar to play. Oh! Only an oops moment from Noppert. And Rodriguez, the substitute, he's only just come on, was lurking, hoping an error might manifest itself.
And just casual closing speed from Kevin Rodriguez, spot on. And no urgency from Noppert to get that out.
Weghorst goes after it, never likely to have the pace to get to the ball. It's Torres forward for Ecuador. And again, Rodriguez. Fresh player on for Latri, and Van Dijk having to slide all the way over to the right-hand touchline.
But you see, these are the moments. Urgency in that action. Urgency to get forward if you can create a moment. But now let's slow the game down.
That's a great image, isn't it? Fingers crossed. On the part of all Dutch fans, and fingers crossed, I think that they don't lose this game, because based on the pattern, based on developments, I wouldn't say that it would be undeserved. Ecuador were to pick up 3 points. The header here by Preciado. Easy meet for Noppert. And they've contributed mightily to this match, Ecuador. We did wonder at the start, at least I wondered, after the Qatar game, just how good they were, just how good that performance was. You didn't so much, Ali. Give you credit for that.
Just seeing them evolve over the course of the last year and a half or so. And the attacking intent, the attacking quality that they have in Valencia. Obviously one of them, given an experienced vet on his right, or his left, I should say, our right. Mena on his right, Cifuentes, player that plays in the MLS.
That's the lead into England against the USA. You'll want to stay with us for that on this Black Friday here on Fox. John Strong and Stu Holden will be your commentators, and the action starts. And again, Rodriguez putting himself about since coming on, and Ake having to clear his lines. Gustavo Alfaro, he's often undemonstrative at the technical area, but I wouldn't use that adjective to describe him tonight. The Ecuadorian fans have been right behind the heroes, and fingers crossed in the Ecuadorian camp as well. They feel, and rightly so, they can win it, even though time is of the essence. 3 minutes into added time. Sarmiento, who has a few tricks about him. Frenkie de Jong has been, by and large, silenced as a force in this second half, as a creative force. And having a say with officialdom close by. It's been such a spirited performance by Latri. And more than just spirit here too, they've outplayed the Dutch. And Blint with the concession of a corner, and it is very much the case that the Dutch have been in a defensive posture. Will the prayers be answered, the Ecuadorian prayers, at the end of this game?
And now with no Valencian, I'm watching Hincapie. He's saying, let's send it in. He just moved up. He's bringing along Torres. And Hincapie will be one of those target players.
Sarmiento, will come on, will take it. So the right-footed player to swing it away. Sarmiento for Ecuador. Van Dijk just reacting in the nick of time for the Oranje. And Sarmiento, out of play it goes. We've almost had 5 added minutes. Well, they might have settled for a draw, you know, before a ball was kicked. The Dutch weren't thinking about a draw, I can tell you that, having chatted with a few of their fans in the city earlier. They believed that the performance level would be better than what we saw against Senegal. Well, they have more defending to do. Blind up towards Memphis Depay. Couldn't quite trap it. Torres away. It's Preciado to scrape it forward. And waiting to bring on another substitute in Alan Franco. And he plays for Tajeres in Argentina. Well, Dutch raids have been few and far between, and there's an errant pass by Berghuis. Well, they have not scaled dizzy heights. The Netherlands got off to a brilliant start. That goal by Gakpo, but very little since then, and all the plaudits going must go to Ecuador, who have been the more compelling side. Valencia with the equalizer, cancelling out the Gakpo goal. And a point apiece, same points mark, same goal difference at the top of the group. The Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1.
'22 FIFA World Cup Today on Fox is presented by Google Pixel. Take a look at our updated Group A standings. The Netherlands and Ecuador level on 4 points, level on goal difference. Neither side advances, but this result does mean our host, Qatar, the first nation, eliminated.